YouTube. This is Kristen Moonrise. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to talk about the Penumbral Lunar Eclipse in Scorpio, or full moon eclipse in Scorpio, happening on Friday, May 5th. So the Penumbral Lunar Eclipse is when the Earth is blocking some of the direct sunlight that the moon receives. And so there's a shadow being cast by Earth onto the moon's face that causes this eclipse. But it's a bit hard to fully see because the moon is completely in its full moon energy. But it will be seen by most places in the world except for the Americas, I believe. So, as we remember, full moons are about being filled up and needing to release. And eclipse season brings permanent change, jumps in our evolution and consciousness. If you remember, our last new moon was in Aries, and that was an eclipse moon. And this full moon is now also an eclipse moon. So, a few characteristics about the sign of Scorpio. It's the most complicated and misunderstood sign. It's a feminine, water, and fixed sign. So with it being a fixed sign, it's resistant to change. But with Scorpio, it's really turbulent energy about Scorpio. So there is constant change with Scorpio, but I believe perhaps external change Scorpio is not really receptive to. So Scorpio really has to be its own energy in order to change. And so it's fixed within itself. So the dominant keyword for Scorpio is I desire. And the body part that it represents is the genitalia. So some other words about Scorpio is intense, extreme, dark, the underworld, as the ruling planet is Pluto when it comes to Scorpio, which is all about those underworld journeys of going the dark night of the soul. That's all about what Pluto is about. And also Scorpio. Scorpio is wild, confusing, turbulent, about hidden agendas, misunderstood, manipulative, destructive, highly emotional. It's about sex, birth, death, and regeneration. Scorpio is also about the penetration of desires. And so if you hear a lot of astrologers talking about that tail of the scorpion, but which I think is really interesting, because when you think about penetration, you think about masculine energy, especially because its body part that it represents is the genitalia, but this is a feminine energy sign. So I find that really interesting that Scorpio is really, everything at once. But one thing about Scorpio is that with all of this, it can love really, really deeply. So I've got my oracle cards here because it is a full moon. Let's see if I can make sure you see it. Surrender to the divine. Because it's full moon in Scorpio, it is time to release negativity. There's probably a lot of other emotions that Scorpio can benefit to release, but I would say negativity is a good one. Because it is a fixed moon, hold your vision. And because it is a full moon eclipse, conclusions are within reach. So about this full moon eclipse, this Scorpio energy is where we can find closure and conclusions with this moon. We are to forgive ourselves of the long repressed, buried secrets, which in itself brings its own revelation. Our shadow sides are emerging with this full moon energy, and there's much needed emotional healing because of it. So we need to make sure that we honor ourselves and go really deep, and go deep on how we may have hurt others. We are to love deeply, but not have it become toxic. So don't ignore or excuse bad behavior. Release unhealthy emotional attachments. Choose to see through the illusions. And with this one here, I put an asterisk next to it, and it says to stop acting out the traumas of the past. So when we're going through our spiritual journeys and we're leveling up and we're, doing our things, sometimes we kind of forget just how far we've come in the journey. We may start doing things like how we did, last year, but it doesn't really fit us anymore. But we may not realize it. So we need to make sure that we are not behaving from our past self and that we have really cultivated this new version of ourselves and that we are operating from that self. So, a few tips. I make these videos for people like me who are really committed to change in their lives, but I put in an astrological twist to it. So, because of that, because of this change that I'm definitely committed to, and I know a lot of you are too, we know that we cannot take our past with us. So change is disorienting, and I know that that can definitely be a little scary sometimes because it doesn't always produce positive feelings. But we need to tune into our spirituality, and my choice of spirituality is astrology and Catholicism mixed together. But definitely figure out what your spirituality is. And a quote from one of my favorite um, astrologers is her name is Heather Insworth, and she says that we're being called into our maturity. So we're seeing a lot of immature behavior because these energies that we're working with as we're going into this new Aquarian age, we're seeing a lot of immaturity because we're being called to be mature. So you're going to see some pushback with that, but we need to hold on and make sure that we know that we are going to the next step because we're willing to mature and evolve. So let me know what you think in the comments. How have you been healing through these journeys and with the help of with our new and full moons? And are you manifesting something new? Are you manifesting new things in your life? Or are you continuing to manifest old things and old behaviors, perhaps maybe because you may be afraid to grow? So let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.